Hey, everybody, this is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the On the Mat Wrestling Show. Welcome to your AEW Double or Nothing preview and picks. Before we begin with Xenia did that. First of all, how's the trip to New York? Because you were complaining you're leaving 120 for 60. How is it in New York?
Yes, but even though it's a little rainy, a little cold, I love New York so much. It's one of my favorite places. Before I came to America to stay for a while, I thought I wanted to live in New York. Like I never thought I would like Florida as much as I do. So a trip to New York is always a treat, no matter the weather.
All right. This year, AEW is different because every year it's in Vegas. Let's face it,
Yeah.
right? And Vegas had enough wrestling and everything like that. This year it's in New York, but in sort of the tennis stadiums there where they have the U.S. Open. But another big change, and this was just announced a couple days ago, Renee Paquette on the pre-show, joined by Cactus Jack, Mick Foley. Yes, Mick Foley is now all elite. Now, for the people, and I know you probably got this, our AEW signing, the New Day, our AEW signing, the
Mhm.
Motor City Machine Guns. Most likely they're going to sign them, but they cannot wrestle or be on air till July 25th, I believe, because they have a 3 month window there. So I believe till July. So if you look at July, the next one is August. That's in the stadium of All In there. And I could see maybe two or three WWE former wrestlers like New Day, like Motor City Machine Guns coming in for AEW. Now, two questions and then we'll do the preview. Mick Foley, what do you think he's going to do with AEW? You think he's going to wrestle or be a sort of in AEW? They don't have, Adam Pierce, Nick Patrick, or sort of a commissioner's role.
Yeah.
What do you think? And who do you think out of everybody who was released by WWE, AEW should target it for the August September pay per view?
I don't think McFoley is going to wrestle. I think he's all grappled out.
Yeah,
But I think they do have spots for someone to have a non-wrestling role. They have the pre-shows where they do analytics. They have a lot of managers as well. So maybe he will manage someone. Maybe he will host some kind of events. So I think it's really great to see this because from what he's been saying, like on the internet and during his interviews, in his post WWE era, it feels like he very much likes and respects the style of wrestling that AEW has. So I feel like it's a really good match, and I'm excited to see him on that pre-show. In terms of who they should target, if I were Tony Khan, I would immediately chase Motor City Machine Guns. I'm a big fan of theirs. I thought they would go to AEW initially as opposed to WWE. When they did go to WWE, it felt weird. It felt surreal. Seeing them on WWE TV felt even more surreal. And yeah, it made me watch those shows. It made me watch those matches. So I guess it achieved some kind of a goal. I just feel like there's so much, like I was gonna say so much more than WWE, but I don't want to be rude to WWE. But they're so different than whatever it is that WWE seeks out. So I don't know how their negotiation went because we know that before they went to WWE, they had talks with AEW as well. So as long as that bridge is not burned, I would 1,000% love to see them in AEW.
agree there. And also, if they're going to get the New Day, I'm wondering if they can get Big E also. And I give it over under of 6 months. If Big E's there, he'll be wrestling in the AEW in 6 months. But I digress. Let's get to the card here. Double or Nothing. Now, this is interesting. On Wednesday, Willow Nightingale said she is injured. She's not going to defend the TBS title. Also, not going to be part of the Owens. So she was supposed to take on Alex Windsor. We don't know, or maybe you have heard. Have you ever heard who the replacement is?
No, I have not.
Okay, they said it's going to be a wild card. So
Hmm.
maybe we're talking about WWE wrestlers or whatever. Maybe it's somebody from NXT, but I cannot mention it's Alex Windsor versus. It's not you, right?
No, definitely not me. But also maybe someone from our age, because we do see some
Yeah.
RH features in the tournament because we have Athena in the tournament, right? So I would think that, with how seriously AEW have been recently taken RH with the new venue and the new Jacksonville tapings, there's a lot of like good storylines happening. There's a lot of consistency. There's a lot of good talent features. So maybe someone who's been appearing on RH. Zeta Steel has been doing
I
really
think it's Red Velvet.
So maybe her?
I think Red Velvet, because if you watched
Or Velvet,
Super Card of Honor, she went after Willow Nightingale, and it just makes sense. Now, another Owen Hart, this time in the men's, and this one I'm really into, Bandito versus Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland going for the main event, now taking the main event of Ring of Honor, and maybe he stays in Ring of Honor, but who do you call in this one?
I don't think he would stay in Ring of Honor, and it's definitely going to be a great match. And it's the cliche of like the fans are the real winners here. But I really don't believe that in current AEW in any universe, Bandito would beat Swerve Strickland.
And do you think he wins this match?
Swerve wins 100%. Yes.
Okay, now the next one, another Owen Hart men's qualifying quarterfinal match. Samoa, I like this guy's name, Samoa Joe. Okay, I like his name. Against Will Ospreay. Now, will have Jon Moxley and the Death Riders or Claudio or whatever with him? Because I don't know what they're doing with this. Is Will a face? Is he a heel? Is he a face heel? Is he a heel face? What's going on here? And Samoa Joe is a killer. Is he going to lose to Will?
I mean, I guess that's for us to find out sooner or later. Like, we don't know what is happening, and he's in some weird transition. And, obviously there's two ways out of this. Either he succumbs to the evil and becomes evil, or he realizes and his head clears and he turns on the Death Riders. But I do think that, again, for Samoa Joe being the killer that he is, the only way for him to safely lose this would be with some kind of a Death Rider interference. So I'm definitely betting on Will Ospreay here, but also probably going to be a great match in terms of wrestling, but also in terms of furthering the storyline.
All right, this should be a battle royal, but we got a 14-man spring or stampede, stadium stampede.
Dude, I freaking love Stadium Stampede. Like, I think some of my all-time favorite wrestling matches are AEW Stadium Stampede, like one year or the other. I think I was going to say the very first one's the best, but I think the second one was the best, actually. But it's something that was born out of COVID, out of not having people in the arena. So since COVID and since we're back to normal now, every single year it's a question of how are they going to do it? How are they going to do it with people in the arena? And then every time they knock it out of the park, with the stadium being slightly unconventional, with it being a tennis stadium, definitely also raises questions. Like, we know that they definitely pre-tape a good chunk of it, but I also hear that the stadium doesn't have screens. So I don't know, maybe AEW will install some screens, hopefully, so that we can get the full experience at the venue, right? But I'm extremely excited to see this. I have trust in AEW that they will figure it out and that it would be brilliant. And also it's a callback because Jericho was in the very first one, and now he's back again for another Stadium Stampede. So I am, by my excitement levels, you can see that this is my most exciting match of the night. And like I said, I really do hope that me being in the venue doesn't spoil that experience for me. But I'm extremely excited for this. And I totally didn't answer who's winning this.
What do you think of the over-under of using tennis rackets, because it's
oh my god, 1,000%, not even a question. They're going to use so many. What are the chances they choke someone with a tennis net?
That's right, or put I was going to say balls and where, but everyone forget about that one. All right, but it's Chris Jericho, you know what I mean, tennis balls. Never mind. Chris Jericho, Team Elite. The Hurt Syndicate versus the Man, the Callis family, and the Dogs there. So do you think the faces or he'll win?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I guess it's going to depend on the other results, but I'm definitely Team Don Callis for, a lot of reasons. And I love seeing the Dogs in AEW as well. I think they're a really good fit. So let's just say that maybe AEW will bank on the younger talent and we'll have them win. But I don't know. It's tough because I feel like Stadium Stampede is usually such like a feel good moment. Like it always feels like a party when you're in the venue, and they always have all sorts of chaos, and it makes people really happy. So like, it could be something where they could want this like feel good moment of like the evil is defeated. But I feel like
Yeah.
Gonzalez family is very in a very strong position right now, all across the board. Which again, we have other Don Callis family matches on the cards, so depending on how those go, that would give us a hint towards how Stadium Stampede will go. But I am Team Don Callis through and through.
All right, so let's talk about the Don Callis family. This is an eagerly anticipated bout, and I'm gonna say this. I hopefully these guys get at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Okada versus Takeshita for the AEW International Championship. I don't care if there's a title on the line. I don't care if there's no title on the line. This match has to deliver, and hopefully it will deliver 2 or 3 times more. Who do you got in this one?
This is going to be absolutely incredible. And you're right, I'm down to watch however many hours of this. Definitely going to be some fight forever chance. My pick is Takeshita. I feel like in terms of how it's been building, it's going to just be more satisfying if he wins because we do have the standard kind of implication of like, oh, we have the established international star and we have the young newcomer that's so talented and he's a phenomenon with like how quickly he rose to fame and everything. So I feel like it would be a more satisfying outcome for Takeshita to win, but I would be happy either way.
Okay, now for the AEW Women's World Championship, a four-way dance: Tekla, Ashida, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander. Tekla comes in the champion. Is she gonna leave the champion?
I think so because she's been hot. Like she's been doing great in AEW, and again, people have been loving her. In however they need to love her or being evil right now. But I think she's the new like big star, especially with Tony Storm being away. If you were to ask me, the person, I'm a big Chris Statlander fan. So for me, the perfect outcome would probably be her winning, but I don't think it's going to happen. And from the wrestling logic standpoint, I think Tekla is walking out still the champ.
I I agree with that one. Now this for me, it's home. AEW tag team titles. I quit Street Fight. Cage and Copeland versus FTR. If Cage and Copeland lose, they have to retire. So meaning, Zania.
Do they have to retire? Because I thought the stipulation was they can't tag together anymore.
If Cage and Copeland retire if they lose as a team, that's what it says here. So.
Yeah, so like they don't like retire. They retire as a team.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen, and we've talked about it before that it's coming. But I also feel like with the dynamic that we've seen ever since they got back together in AEW, it's always been kind of underlyingly like implied that they have different philosophies, that they have different approaches to wrestling, that they're too different to be together still. So I feel like it will happen and also will lead to some tensions there. And FTR have been a pretty strong presence in the tag team division all throughout their life cycle in AEW, like ever since they got signed. So I feel like they do have enough weight to lead to this pretty significant outcome. So I'm excited to see, and I do think that it's happening.
All I know is Stokely he's gonna die on Sunday.
He's gonna die. R.I.P.
Yeah, so that's Stokely. But here's the other thing, because I know they're adding a pay-per-view here in October in Toronto. It's assumed that it's Edge's or Adam Copeland's last match. It's not assumed that it's Edge
so
Christian's last match.
This Sunday, they break up, they feud with each other, and then one retires the other.
See, you're stealing my lines now. Come on. All right. Now this one, another match that hits close to home. Okay. I have to talk about my good Jewish friend, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and Darby Allin for the AEW World Championship in a title versus hair match. Now, look, I'm going to steal the line from my good friend Rick. Woo! Woo! Look at MJF. Look, a lot of hair. Okay. Okay? And I don't pay. Where does he go to Turkey to pay? Like,
Turkey, I guess.
look, I'm pulling. Look. It doesn't come out. No hair comes out. See? Oh, I'm hurting myself. Anyways, all right. MJF. He's the for me. I honestly, there's no better heel in the world right now. I don't care
I
if you
agree.
get Chris Jericho. He reminds me of Roddy
Right.
Piper and all that. Plus, he's Jewish. Okay, let's face it, Jews. All right. In New York, he's from Long Island. This is from Queens. In New York, Darby Allin could come from up in the ceiling or whatever. I'm wondering if Sting's going to be there also, but this should be a terrific. And you know what? I like this because there's no 16 matches. There's 8, 9 matches. Good. And hopefully it doesn't end up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Better, right? But
Yeah.
who do you want to win? Never who's going to win. Who do you want to win? And then who do you think's going to win?
I want MJF to win, and I think he's going to win. And I hate that, like, in the era of social media, like, as much as I love social media and I think it's so important, so crucial, and so wonderful, right? I hate that we kind of have to factor in real life stuff that we unfortunately know, because, like you just mentioned, MJF just got the hair plugs. Like, I don't see in any universe any possibility that MJF is shaving his head right now. Like, I just don't see it happening. Maybe I just don't know how it works. Maybe you can do that. Maybe it's been good for you when you first get the hair plugs. I don't know. I don't see it happening in any world whatsoever. And that is my reasoning. Unfortunately, very dumb reasoning. But in terms of me wanting him to win, is I love MGF. Like, I think he's literally one of the best doing it right now in the industry, and he absolutely deserves to be the top talent and champion and whatever. But like, yeah, unfortunately, my reasoning for my very smart prediction is simply just real life / social media stuff.
And if they were smart, which I'm not saying they're not smart or whatever, Darby Allin has like 25 hairs. Okay, like, come on, they should MJF win and put it in. I guess their next big thing is in All In and all out in Wembley Stadium. Again, rematch, but this time hair versus hair or hair versus title plus hair match there, and have Darby Allin shave his hair. He's got how many hairs does this guy have anyway?
It's like for Darby, the stakes are too low. Like, it's not like, oh my god, he's gonna shave his, like, he doesn't care.
Yeah, and but these guys, and I gotta say, we talked about the last match with the manager of FTR and everything like that gonna die, but hopefully, because I know this is gonna happen. Darby Allin's gonna go through something like crazy. I don't know. This guy's not even 100 pounds, 120 pounds. He's small and he takes the bumps that nobody can go through. Like, amazing to me that this guy's still walking. And another guy we mentioned about Collision and Dynamite. Another guy is Briscoe. Okay, Briscoe with Tamacho. I can't believe they're not on the card. I can't believe they didn't throw them in the Stampede there and all that. The greater this does every match. Hopefully, because this is a pay-per-view, every match does not need blood. Every match does not need blood because WWE has a history. Great.
If you don't want to see blood, go watch WWE. Maybe it does need blood.
No, but not every match. Come on, Xenia. Every match.
Every second. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe you're a sicker individual than me.
I'm a sicko. Though AEW is for the sickos, so.
You're a sicko, but I really think maybe 1 or 2 matches, but not every match. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's all I'm saying. I know.
Agree. Again, I hate that they have to think about it from such a practical standpoint. That, like, from the standpoint of logistics, then you have to, like, either change the layer of the canvas or it, like, stays there. It doesn't look good. So in terms of that, yeah, it would make sense for only, like, the later matches in the card to have the blood. And plus, we're operating in the realm of wrestling. If we were to operate in the realm of, like, is this real / believable? If you watch a UFC pay-per-view, there would be blood in every single fight because that's how fights work, Yeah. So if we're operating from a standpoint of, like, oh my god, we need this to be as believable as possible, which is a paradox because WWE always concerns itself with how much it looks like a real fight, and yet it avoids a lot of things that make it feel real. But we're not operating from that standpoint. We're operating from the standpoint of wrestling. And in wrestling, Blood is like a step further from any other kind of selling or injury or worked injuries or whatever it is. So then obviously it needs to be protected the same way that more drastic moves are protected. So you are right, all jokes aside, that like if everyone is bleeding in every single match, it becomes less special.
So, and you mentioned, Ring of Honor a couple minutes ago and all that, and they're building up Ring of Honor great. But
Yeah.
how come there's not a Ring of Honor versus AEW pay per view, or make it a NXT versus WWE pay per view? I know that's what they're leaning towards here. I'm going to spoiler. This is not a spoiler; it's a prediction. The John Cena Memorial, whatever you want to call it, okay, it's going to be NXT versus WWE. Eventually, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but that's what they're leaning towards: NXT versus WWE. Well, you got Ring of Honor, and everybody loves wrestling, and AEW they wrestle also. Ring of Honor, AEW. I think that should be a pay per view, whatever, October, November, whatever, not this year, whatever. Build up Ring of Honor and have the champion take on the champion, and maybe give a surprise here for a TV title. Give a surprise. What do you say?
Yeah, I think it will inevitably happen. I just think it needs to marinate a little longer. Like you said, they need to
Yeah,
build it up just a little more. But yeah, I think it's definitely something that's happening. And also, if we go back to like the initial concept of Supercard of Honor, it was initially a pay-per-view that was meant to bridge that gap between two or three separate promotions.
yeah,
It used
yeah,
to be on RH and TNA, right? I think it was.
yeah.
Joint show, which obviously for obvious reasons is not happening anymore. But they can definitely reframe it to be an AW RH or an RH New Japan because the concept is there and that's what it was designed for. So I think it's definitely happening, just not right now, not right this second.
All right, and one final question. You mentioned UFC or MMA. Last Saturday we had MVP, or basically Jake Logan Paul's corporation, where Ronda Rousey took on Gina Carano. You know what? And I'm telling you this right now. No offense, I like Gina Carano, okay? But if I put Xenia did that against Ronda Rousey, I think he
The
lasts 17
outcome would be
seconds.
about the same, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he'll last about 17 seconds, but the problem is Ronda Rousey got $2.5 million. The other one got 500,000. Come on, I
But
understand two and a
also,
half
like,
million.
you have to consider that, like, if it was an untrained person, it would be even less. It would be like 2 seconds. Because we think that 17 seconds is not a lot, but to be in a cage with someone that advanced, like Ronda Rousey, it is actually quite a lot. Like, if you saw, I think it was Sean O'Malley, he was on like a stream or something,
Yeah,
and there was an interview, and someone asked him, how long would it take you to submit me if I'm like fighting tooth and nail, like I'm giving it my all as an untrained person who like maybe goes to the gym, right? Who's like not completely like weak, And he was like, well, how long can you like run full sprint? That's about how long it's gonna take. Like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, that's your answer. But then he was like, oh, but like what am I getting out of it? Like if there's an incentive for me and I'm getting $500,000, then it's going to be 2 seconds. So we really don't realize to what extent these people are trained and to what extent they're freaking super soldiers, super fighters. So the fight being 17 seconds is honestly no surprise. And if you know Ronda Rousey, if you've seen her in UFC, that is exactly what she does. Just go straight for the armbar, whenever she can. And if
yeah.
anything, this proves to you that it was not a fake fight, that it was for real. But it's funny when people ask me, "Oh, have you seen the Ronda Rousey fight?" I'm like, "Yeah, I opened Instagram, and there was an Instagram reel that was the whole entire fight, and then some like commentary on top. So of course I saw it, but it's all with UFC. It's so different than wrestling. MMA is so different than wrestling, and they always like build up the main events the same way that wrestling does, but then you are so not guaranteed the payoff. So it's normal. It's something that happens. So what can you do?
All right, and don't forget June 14th, UFC 250. Even though they're at UFC 330, but you go back to UFC 250 for USA
Because
being 250. That's right, UFC, and that should be. It's a spectacle there. That is on the White House lawn. Me and on the president of the province of Canada and George and Mr. Orange as president of the United States were there, and hopefully I have to protect them. Okay, I have to protect them. That's what they say.
Do
So
it
you know what
now.
I'm doing? No, you know what I'm doing? I said, Mr. Trump, I'm going to order you food. So I called McDonald's. I called Burger King. I called Harvey's. I called Wendy's. All he wants is Coke.
Cool.
Coke. He doesn't want to have hamburgers. He wants Coke. I had to get 52 gallons of Coke, and that's all for Trump, not for me. For
I mean,
Trump,
he famously is a fan of McDonald's. So it's
no,
really
no,
funny because
he
I'm
he
apparently a fan
doesn't
of.
want McDonald's, but I got him Coke. You know what I got? I got Dr. Pepper.
Of course, there you
You
go.
love Dr. Pepper too. Don't tell me you don't love
That's the
Dr.
correct
Pepper.
choice.
That's it. All
Well,
right, tell everybody.
I hate that I share like the preferred fast food with Trump. Like, there was like Uber Eats Wrapped at the end of last
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
and Uber Eats Wrapped told me that I'm in the top 10 McDonald's fans in my area. I was very offended, but unfortunately, that's.
But what? Okay, here. What is your McDonald's go-to?
Oh my gosh, it depends on the mood, but usually it would be a Big Mac with fries and Dr. Pepper. So,
And Dr. Pepper. See, that's it.
of course,
That's,
it's the
would you
best food
take?
ever.
But would you take away the Big Mac and just have a Dr. Pepper?
No, not from McDonald's, but on a regular day, yes. There's Dr. Pepper in my fridge right now.
All right. So to Xenia, that hopefully it doesn't take that long with AEW Double or Nothing. But tell everybody about you and what can they expect in the next few weeks.
Yes, I mostly do my media education right now. So if you are a business owner, entrepreneur, any professional in wrestling, be it on screen, off screen, a wrestler, non wrestler, and if you are looking for that sign to take that next step to build your brand, make your socials work for you, make money from your socials while you sleep, contact me. Let's do discovery call. Let's talk about your goals and how I can help. And if you're a wrestling fan, you can follow me on my socials. They did that. It's my Instagram, my X, my YouTube as well. And I am in New York for AEW. So there will be a lot of AEW content over this weekend. So stay tuned for that.
And you know what? You've been doing such a good job. Maybe when I go over to Italy next week, maybe I'll have you on for the Clash in Italy. Only if you buy me spaghetti.
Only if I buy you Dr. Pepper.
All right, you convinced me. All right, that Xenia did that. Everybody enjoy AEW Double or Nothing this Sunday, 8 p.m. And then especially watch Renee Paquette and Mick Foley. It should be interesting to see if he says anything about the WWE, put it that way. But again, Xenia did that. Check her out. One of the best in the pro wrestling industry. Thanks a lot, Xenia.
Thank you for having me.